Hello class, we are back to our lesson 4, but this is the part 2. Okay? Again, we are still on the IT delivery and support na phase ng ating mga lessons. Although sa ngayon, pag-uusapan natin yung security and service community. On part 1, pinag-usapan natin doon ang service desk and problem management. Okay? So ngayon naman, more of the security portion. Of course, this is in the context of an information system or a computerized environment. So, ano-ano yung mga kinakailangan naman ninyong tandaan or matutunan on this topic? Okay, now first, let's talk about this one. Of course, nandito tayo sa auditing, di ba? Now, during an audit of the operating system and other system software, of course, yan naman kasi yung ating target, yan yung ating specialization pagdating sa audit, yun yung target natin. So, napakahalaga. Kaya nga sinabi dito, extremely important that the auditor consult a logical, or sorry, hindi consult kung hindi construct a logical audit program that will enhance, okay, para mapabuti yung pag-i-evaluate ng operating system at saka yung mga softwares, na magsusupport sa audit findings and recommendations. So, dito crucial. Okay, lagi naman kahit naman hindi tayo audit in an IT environment, mahalaga talaga ang audit program because this establishes what are we going to do. Now, in an information system environment, critical ang security because, okay, ito yung mag-safeguard sa lahat ng mga resources for the company, whether hardware, software, or even the information or the instructions or the data available to us, okay, being part of the organization. Ngayon, basahin ko lang sabi dito, maintaining an adequate level of security is one of the several aspects of both information management and information systems management. First, management of information. Pangalawa, management of information system. Of course, information is yung ating mga, ang tawag natin dito, yung basis ng information system. Okay? Kasi yung information system, ito yung nagpapadali ng buhay. Nagko-contain ng mga information that will be useful for the organization as a whole. Okay, of course, depende sa needs. Now, the purpose of information security is to help ensure that the organization's strategic business objectives are met. Of course, on the top management, on a high level, may mga targets yan. Strategic management, kaya nga di ba meron tayong isang subject on strategic management because we are dealing with ano ba ang mga decisions, or the decision making of the higher management. Anong mga ginagawa dito? Ano yung mga pinag-uusapan? Okay? Because we are talking about the bigger picture, hindi yung mga details. Okay? Now, ito yung mga kinakailangan tandaan. Okay? The 3 fundamental objectives for information. The first one, confidentiality. Okay? Etong mga terms na ito, hindi ito bago, Familiar terms ito sa inyo. Second, availability. And third, integrity. Now, pasadahan natin one by one. Let's talk about confidentiality. Of course, confidentiality is protecting the information from unauthorized access. Okay, confidential yung information. Ibig sabihin, hindi available for the general public. Okay, for the consumption of everybody. Yung information na yon. Kaya natin ito tinatag as confidential. Kasi it should be only be available to those who should have access, yung authorized para makita kung ano man yung information or kung ano man yung nilalaman ng information na yon. So, of course, this is important in maintaining company image and complying with privacy laws. Especially on the Philippine setup, meron tayong Data Privacy Act of 2012. So ito yung batas na nagpapangalaga ng confidentiality and the privacy of the information. Ano yung mga possible risks dito? Kapag na-expose tayo sa unauthorized access. This one, no? Yung mga security breaches that allow unauthorized access, okay? Or disclosure of sensitive or valuable company data, kagaya ng mga policyholder information or corporate strategic plans to competitors or the general public. Okay, so mga security breach, no, na kung saan biglang nagkaroon ng access yung hindi dapat magkaroon ng access. At because of that unauthorized access, nakita nila yung mga information na hindi dapat nila makita. Now, meron tayong tinatawag kasi ng mga corporate spy, ano, at meron silang, ito yung mga, ano, no, ginagawa ng iba, especially, let's say, sabihin na natin, ano, just for example, Microsoft versus Google. Tama, sandali. Tama bang aking, ano, no? Kunwari, eto na lang, Samsung versus Apple. Maaring may mga espiya dyan, ano, na ang trabaho nila is infiltrate yung isang company, makapasok sila doon para malaman nila yung mga trade secrets. Okay? So that is corporate espionage. No? So nag-espiya sila para makakuha sila ng mga confidential information, especially mga technical information na may kinalaman sa kanilang mga produkto. So that's a crime, ano, malaking krimen ito. Okay? So ito yung pinapangalagaan natin. Kaya may mga controls tayo dyan. And of course, as for the auditing part, no, for the auditors, they have to ensure that the controls are in place para mapangalagaan yung confidentiality of the information. Next, availability. Of course, when we are talking of availability of information, kailan ba ito available? At kapag may nangailangan nito, available ba ito? No? So that is maintaining information systems in support of business processes. So mahalaga ito, ano, for maintaining operational efficiency and effectiveness. Kasi sabihin na natin, okay, there are certain information, kunwari, ano, for the part of the sales and marketing or the business, it depends really on the tagging, on the naming of a specific department, no? Let's say sa amin, new business ang tawag nito sa previous company ko. Pero yung iba maaring these are the sales and marketing personnel, no? At syempre, kapag nakikipag-deal sila, ano, nag-o-offer sila ng mga proposal sa mga potential clients, may mga private or company information na dinadivulge. What if kailangan nila yon, no? And then because we are employing information system na yung pag-generate ng mga information, ano, pag-extract ng mga critical information ay manggagaling sa information system. But because, of some control measures or masyadong mahigpit, yung availability nako-compromise when it should be readily available to specific persons, na allowed dapat. Okay? So kinakailangan din, for operational efficiency and effectiveness. Now, eto lang kasi, of course, we want to be strict as much as possible, but kinakailangan natin ma-secure. Kanino ba dapat tayo maghigpit, no? At sino ba dapat ang hindi natin ito pwedeng bigyan, no? In relation doon sa confidentiality of information. Of course, yung availability naman is we should provide the information, no, ASAP, no, as much as possible, immediately. Okay, doon sa mga tao na may authorized naman na magkaroon ng information na ito. Now, the possible risks associated with availability includes significant disruption or failure of information system, including loss of ability to process business and crash of systems. Of course, ito very very unfortunate, no, very medyo sa kasamaang palad, kumbaga. Kung kailan kailangan mo yung information, biglang nagkaroon ng system crash. Dahil sa system crash, hindi mo ma-access yung mga modules or mga parts ng information system na kailangan mong i-access dahil nagkaroon ng problema. So, ito yung mga possible risk. It can happen due to a variety of sources. Maaring nagkaroon ng catastrophe, nagkaroon ng virus na infiltrate ng mga malware or mga malicious software ang information system, o kaya nasabotahe, kaya hindi na-access. Okay, so eto ano yung mga possible risks dito na kinakailangan naman talaga na napangalagaan. Okay? And dapat may mga control measures tayo dyan. Next, this one, no, integrity. And of course, when we are talking of integrity, o di ba, may integridad ba yung information? In the context of information here, this is the correctness and completeness of information. Accurate, tama ba yan? Kumpleto ba yan? Okay? This is important in maintaining the quality of information for decision making. Pinag-uusapan naman natin kasi dito yung kalidad ng impormasyon. Kasi syempre, yung mga decision makers, they will rely on the information that are being provided to them. Now, if the information is coming from an information system, tapos mayroong issue on data integrity, which affects the extraction, the generation of information, o malaking bagay yan. Ang mga possible risks na associated with information integrity includes, syempre, mga security breaches, that allows unauthorized access pa rin to information system resulting in corrupted information. Okay? Because of security breaches, nagkaroon ng unauthorized access at na-corrupt yung information. Of course, malaking bagay yan. Issue talaga yan, O kaya naman, ang result nito ay fraud or misuse, okay, of company information. Nagkaroon ng unauthorized access, either ginawa ng panloloko, o kaya naman nagamit ito sa maling paraan. So, maaaring hindi corrupted yung information pero ginamit ito sa mga ibang bagay, mga intentional. Okay? So, we have to protect the integrity of the information. Hindi lamang data integrity, kung hindi information integrity. We should always be able to determine or distinguish what's the difference between data and information. Because if we will go back weeks ago, how many weeks ago, when we are talking of data, ito yung mga unprocessed pa, mga raw na ipoproseso pa. Because when we are talking of the IPO model, information processing cycle, input is the data, process is whatever is available for us, let's say the information system, and then the product of that, the result is your information, yung mga process data. Okay? Now, let's talk about security threat and risks. Well, actually, meron akong isang nito, video lecture, or hindi lang isa, parang dalawa yun, or higit pa, pag nirelate pa ito sa ibang mga chapters, on my IT application tools, in business and accounting, which is a separate subject. Pero meron akong mga available na video lectures here. Although, if you want, if you want to visit it, ano ba yung mga computer security threats and risk na pinag-uusapan natin? Now, in the context of auditing subject, in a CIS environment. Basahin natin ito. Expanding computer use has resulted in serious abuses of data communication systems. Of course, di ba? Computerized na tayo ngayon. Unlike before, physical, puro mga paper files, paper documents. So at least nami-minimize yung mga threats sa security kasi sabihin na natin meron tayong physical storage. Kunwari, meron tayong warehouse ng lahat ng mga documents. Pero sa ngayon, decentralized na, Or kaya naman sabihin na natin yung saving ng information or yung information storage ay nasa cloud na. So, very risky po, So, syempre, marami yung nag-access, marami yung mga computer hackers. Basahin ko itong second part, Computer hackers and sometimes employees use an organization's data communication system to tamper with the organization's data. Okay? Destroying information, introducing fraudulent records, and stealing assets with the touch of a few keys. Okay? Meron akong bagong pinapanood ngayon sa Netflix. Startup, series ito. So, parang mga cryptocurrency, yung kwento. So, uso yung mga hacking, di ba? So, malaking bagay yan. So, kahit akala mo, secured yung information, secure yung mga mga files, yung mga instructions, yung mga codes, pero hindi pala, may mas magaling pa, Akala mo magaling ka na, pero may mga mas magagaling pa sa'yo mag-isip. At nagkataon, nandun sila sa side ng mga nefarious activities or mga wicked activities, mga computer hacks, Ang mga common techniques used to commit cyber crimes are the following. Spamming. phishing, spoofing, and farming. Pasadaan lang natin ito ng konti, ano? Pag sinabi nating spamming, ito yung mga unsolicited emails. Kung gamit na gamit ninyo yung mga email accounts ninyo, di ba? Minsan may mga unsolicited na mga emails na dumarating. Mga advertisements, di ba? Di ba? Hindi mo naman inaasahan, biglang may pumasok. Kaya nga merong spam folder eh. Let's say for the Gmail, no? So, tinatag, ito potential spam ito. So, instead na pumasok siya sa primary na inbox mo, nandoon siya sa isang folder, no? For spam. But you have to check kung spam nga ba talaga yun, ano? Kasi minsan, it comes from untrusted sources. Meron kasi tayong tinatawag ng mga trusted sources. I hope you can still recall your IT application tools na subject, ano. Second, phishing. Pag phishing naman, ito yung scam din ito, no, high-tech scam. Wag lang kayo malilito, ano, spam at saka scam. No, scam, syempre, ito yung mga pandoraya, no, panloloko that frequently uses spam or pop-up messages to deceive people into disclosing people their sensitive information. Okay? Ito yung gumagawa ng mga paraan, mga diskarte para makakuha ng sensitive information. Kunwari, sabihin na natin ng mga credit card details. Okay? O para sa kaalaman ng iba, no, may mga credit card accounts, no? Be careful with divulging that information, lalo na yung mga security numbers, no, sa likod, okay, ng inyong mga credit cards. Kasi 'di ba minsan kapag bumibili tayo ng plane tickets, 'di ba? Binabayaran natin ito through the credit card. So meron tayong mga pinapasok ng mga confidential information, private o financial information. So mag-ingat tayo sa mga phishing, no? Spoofing naman, this is an act of creating a fraudulent website to mimic an actual well-known website by run by another party. Ito, nagkukunwaring BDO or BPI or mga financial or banking institution. Pero pag chinek mo, hindi naman pala. So, nagki-create sila ng nakakalokong website. Akala mo totoo kasi gayang-gaya nila. That is spoofing, no? Ang farming naman, this is a method used by phishers to deceive users into believing that they are communicating with a legitimate website. Okay, medyo parang pare-pareha sila, but actually they have their differences. Now, pag-usapan natin, security standards. Of course, when we are talking of standards, ito yung mga framework, di ba, na sinusundan natin. Mga guidelines that provide a framework for implementing. Okay, of course, when we are talking of security standards, ito yung mga guidelines for security processes and controls. O, meron tayong dalawa. Yung, ito, familiar na familiar ito. Dinig na dinig ninyo, Ito, sa mga companies talaga, mapa-private or mapa-government, we are complying with ISO, okay? Which is International Organization for Standardization. O, sir, bakit hindi iOS? Bakit naging ISO? Actually, hindi ko rin alam, But the ISO na naririnig na ninyo, that is your International Organization for Standardization. And this is the world's largest developer and publisher of international standards. Okay? Ang intent nito is to provide a guide for the development of what? Organizational security standards and effective security management practices, and to help build confidence in inter-organizational activities. Kunwari, tama ba? ISO 2015. Okay, let's say for the schools, for PUP, or for some private companies, they are compliant with ISO certification. Na kapag pumasa sila doon, ibig sabihin, okay yung kanilang business processes, they are compliant with the international standards. O meron din tayo si NIST, NIST, or the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Ang focus naman nito is to develop tests, measurements, proof of concepts, reference data, and other technical tools to support the development of pivotal and forward-looking technology. Okay, now, meron tayong tinatawag na ISO 27002. Okay, it is formerly ISO 17799. Now, this is the code of practice for information security. And it outlines hundreds of potential controls and control mechanism in 12 major sections. Now, meron akong hindi isinama dito sa aking slide, ano? And please check your IM. May mga items doon na hindi ko na define, hindi ko na isinama. Okay? Ang sinama ko lang dito is the 10 areas covered by the ISO 27002 standards. Ano itong mga areas covered na ito? Oh, part 1, kasi first 5 ito. Or sorry. Oh yes, correct. First 5. Number 1, security policy. Of course, policy about security. This is adapting a security process na nag-outline ano yung expectation ng organization about the security. And of course, yung tawag nito, sorry, nakalimutan ko yung tamang terminology. Because I want to emphasize dito, yung this can then demonstrate management support and commitment to security. Tone of the top, ito, okay? I was referring kasi doon sa COSO framework, yung control environment, no? Well, when we are talking of management support, that is the tone at the top kasi kung they are supportive, of course, no? Ibig sabihin, supportive din yung nasa baba, no, in implementing and following the policies, no? Security organization, having a management structure for security, including appointing security coordinators. Hindi class, no, hindi appointing security guards, okay? But security coordinators, delegating security management responsibilities, and establishing a security incident response process. So we are talking here of the management structure, organization, no? Asset classification and control. Ano naman po ito, no? When we are talking of asset classification and control, ito yung detailed, pagkakandak ng mga detailed assessment at pag-inventaryo ng mga organizations, information infrastructure, and information assets. Okay, to determine an appropriate level of security. Ito yung, identify natin yung mga information infra natin at saka yung mga assets. Ano-ano. Okay? And then, we classify them to provide proper control and the appropriate level of security. Parang ano lang yan, asset tagging, no? Let's say, ano ba yan? Non-current or current classification. Tapos, di ba, may mga account codes tayo. So, parang ganun, yung concept, kina-classify natin yung mga information asset para makapag-provide tayo ng appropriate level. Kasi hindi naman yan equal, no? In terms of priority, yung confidentiality ng information, okay, para sa pagpo-provide ng tamang control. Kasi syempre may mga limitations din tayo sa mga resources. So we provide critical controls and control measures doon sa mga mas kinakailangan bigyan ng atensyon. Personnel security. This is making a security a key component of the human resources and business operations. Pag pinag-uusapan naman natin yung physical and environmental security, of course, no? OC lang ako, no? It is establishing a policy that protects the IT infrastructure, physical plant, and employees. This is the physical security, ano? May mga locks ba? Okay, mayroon ba tayong mga security personnel? Okay. Yan po yung mga yan, para mapangalagaan natin yung mga IT infra natin, yung mga physical plants, tsaka yung mga tao. Okay? So, yan po yung first 5. Now, eto naman yung second 5 para mabuo natin yung 10 areas covered. Communications and operations management. Okay, this is managing the communications and operations. Sir, niloloko nyo naman ako. Binaliktad nyo lang eh. Basahin natin. It is preventing security incidents, no, by implementing preventive measures. Measures, no? Preventive. Ibig sabihin, yung mga measures na ito, ang silbi nito ay para maiwasan natin na mangyari ang mga insidente, no? Security incidents, okay? Such as using antivirus protection, no? Maintaining and monitoring logs, securing remote connections, and having incident response procedures. Remember this, incident management, no? Problem management. What happened? Dapat mayroong proper documentation. Of course, maraming mga cyber crimes, di ba? When we are talking of cyber crimes, yung mga krimen na ginagamit yung internet, no, para makapag-infiltrate ng mga information system or mga computer programs, di ba? And of course, dapat may proper audit trail yan, no? Para may mga monitoring tayo, may monitoring logs para malaman natin o sino yung nag-access ngayon ng IS. Okay, gaano ito katagal? Ano ang purpose, di ba? Okay, so yan po, ano, ang communications and operations management. Next, access control. When we are talking of access control, sino yung mga may access, no? These are protecting against internal abuses and external intrusion. Of course, yung mga employees, may mga access yan, pero hindi yan pare-parehas ng access, depende sa kanilang posisyon, no? So yung iba, merong access, limited lang yung access. So hindi sila pwedeng magkaroon ng access sa iba. Kaya nga, 'di ba, meron tayong mga access controls para kung ikaw ay walang access sa, let's say, mga confidential info, hindi mo dapat yan ma-open. Otherwise, pag nagkaroon ka ng access dyan, paano nangyari yon? May lapses ba sa controls? Okay, o kaya naman, external intrusion. Ito, lalong-lalo na, no? Critical ito. Competitor mo nagkaroon ng access sa iyong information system. Maraming na nakaw ng mga information. Okay? So, we have to control access to network and application resources. For example, password management, no? Dapat meron hindi lang user, no? User ID, kung hindi merong password. Meron pang mga authentication. Remember, may mga CAPTCHA pa tayo na tinatawag, di ba? Para masabi natin na okay, hindi ka robot, no? Tao ka. And event logging. Okay? That is access control. Next, systems development and maintenance. Of course, we have to update our system. We have to develop it. We have to maintain it. Baka kasi minsan, medyo we are left behind na. So, may mga system updates na kinakailangan. So, we have to ensure that security is an integral part of a network deployment or expansion. And that existing systems are properly maintained. Kasi kung medyo outdated na yan, maraming risk din yan. Maaring ma-infiltrate yan kasi medyo luma na. No? Business continuity management. Ito, what happens if nagkaroon tayo ng mga disasters, di ba? Can the business continue? Kung biglang nagkaroon ng earthquake, earthquake, nasira yung building, nag-crash, nag-collapse. Kasama na dyan, syempre, yung mga information system, yung mga computers, di ba? So, in that event, can the business continue to operate, no? Meron ba tayong mga proper recovery measures? Okay? Compliance. Of course, complying with any applicable regulatory and tawag nito, legal requirements. Okay? Now, as the online threats keep rising, businesses need to address the security issue seriously and quickly find ways to cope with it. Now, to effectively fight these potential threats, please bear with me, sabayan nyo na lang ako sa pagbabasa. They need to carefully design and develop a good security plan and then fully implement and enforce it. They need to consider and value its effectiveness in the long run when investing in security rather than the instant savings from security investments. Alam niyo kapag nag-invest tayo sa security, hindi lang naman kasi short term ang pinag-uusapan natin. It should be viewed on the long run. Hindi yung mga pangmalapitan na benefit. Kasi when you invest in security, of course, hindi lang naman yung current short term yung nabebenepisyohan nito. Kung hindi, yung mga future, no? Well, at least nakapag-invest ka na later on, mga updates na lang, well, at least meron ka ng security for any threats, no? Kasi as the technology increases, mas tumatalino din yung mga criminal minds, no? So, hindi natin masabi. Kasi maraming mga matatalino sa IT, pero nagagamit sa mga mga kalukuhan, no? Kaya kinakailangan natin bantayan din yung ating mga business. Meron tayong tatlong klase ng controls: management, operational, and technical. Pagdating sa management, we are talking here of computer security policy, risk management, no? Of course, computer security risk management, security and planning in the computer system lifecycle, and assurance. Pagdating naman sa operational controls, personnel or user issues, preparing for contingencies and disasters, computer security incident handling, awareness, training, and education, security considerations in computer support and operations, and then physical and environmental security. Okay? So, that is the operational controls. Pagdating naman sa technical controls, we have your identification and authentication. O, logical access control, audit trails, cryptography. Okay? O, cryptography, hindi yan cryptocurrency, ano? Ito yung maaari nating sabihin na ano, no? If you remember yung mga encryptions. Okay? Well, actually, meron akong detailed explanation nito. You can visit my chapter 9 on the IT application tools if you like, no? Now, ito ano, tandaan natin when we are dealing of information security controls. O, information owner's responsibilities and information custodian responsibilities. Yung mga owners ng information, may mga responsibility yan. At yung responsibility na yan, of course, nakalagay yan sa mga job descriptions nila. Ano ang responsibilities mo, di ba? So, sino-sino ba ang mga information owners? Well, it really depends. They may be the department managers. They may be the senior manager or senior management, no? O the designer within the organization who bear the responsibility for acquisition, development, and maintenance of production applications that process information. So, maring lahat ano ay information owner to their own respective and based on their responsibilities or their job roles, no? Job descriptions. Information custodian o yung information owner, different pa yan sa information custodian, ano? Yung custodian, ito naman yung mga nangangalaga. They are in physical or logical possession of either organization information or information that has been entrusted to the organization. Okay? Whereas IT staff members clearly are custodian, local system administrators are also custodians. Usually, ito yung mga nasa IT personnel, ano, but it really depends also. Now, how about information classification designation? Dito, sa part na ito, pinag-uusapan natin ano yung category ng information. Are they public, internal, confidential, or restricted? Kasi, kagaya ng hinighlight ko dito, hindi lahat ng information ay treated equally. Okay, meron dyan ng mga sobrang confidential, no? Masyadong hindi pwede, no? Limited personnel only on the top management lamang ang pwedeng magkaroon ng access dito. At kahit ikaw ay isang manager or supervisor, wala kang access dapat dito. Hindi mo ito pwedeng malaman. Kunwari ano, sa mga military, di ba? Maraming restricted, maraming confidential information na hindi dinadivulge, hindi sinasiwalat sa mga publiko, no? Okay? Security is expensive. Sabi ko nga kanina, mayroon tayong limitation sa resources. So, hindi natin pwedeng mabigyan lahat ng controls, ano? So, kinakailangan selective din tayo. But we must layer the controls para masigurado natin na yung mga critical information yung napapangalagaan. Okay? Ano-ano yung mga category? We have public, internal, confidential, and restricted. Pag sinabi nating public, available yan sa lahat. Okay? Free to all. Pwede nila itong ma-access. Pag halimbawa, sa company website, no, nakalagay yan, may mga information na nakalagay dyan, that is public information. Pag internal naman, that is only within the organization, ano, company-wide, kaya nga sinabi dito. And it should be protected with limited controls, no? Internal information may include employee handbook, okay? Mga policies and company-wide memos, no? Mga HR policies, kunwari. If disclosed, internal information has a minimal impact to the organization. Public, pwede kasama yung labas. Internal, pangloob lamang. Hindi pwede kasama yung labas. Otherwise, kapag kasama yung labas, hindi na yan internal. It becomes public. Wala po tayong external, ano? Kasi yung information na external is available internally. Kaya siya more of public, ano? Next, confidential. Pag confidential information, team-wide. Kanina, company-wide yung internal. Pag confidential, team-wide, mas limited, no? Now, it should be contained within the business. Kung sino lang ang within the team, ano? So, sila lang yung may access, may grant para makita yung information na yan. Ano yung mga example? Let's say, if you are in the sales and marketing, ano? Mga pricing schemes, marketing materials, no? Or contact information. Kapag na-disclose yan, The confidential information could negatively affect your business and ultimately your brand. Kasi halimbawa, mga car dealers, Toyota versus Honda versus other brands, no? Syempre, may mga pricing schemes yan. Papaano natin pinipresyohan yung Toyota Vios or yung Toyota Wigo? Kung ma-divulge yan sa kalaban, let's say for Honda, ganito pala. So makakapag-isip sila ng paraan papaano nila matatalo kung sakali man na nandoon sila sa bottom part. So it may have a negative effect to the business of the competitor na nagkaroon ng disclosure ng confidential information. How about restricted? Pag restricted mas lalong limited pa yan sa confidential. Highly sensitive and it should be limited on a need-to-know basis. Kung sino lang yung may kaalaman or may kinakailangan malaman ito. Usually, that is limited to a number or to a handful of doon sa mga top management, high ranks. Okay? And usually, kinakailangan natin dito ng mga NDA or the non-disclosure agreements. Kasi dito, nakasaad, what happens kung biglang na-disclose mo ito? Hindi dapat. So, may mga legal implications yan. Of course, it has legal risks. Okay? Pwede kang makasuhan pag na-disclose mo yan. Kunwari, mga trade information, trade secrets, potentially identifiable information, card holder data for credit cards, health information. Kaya nga may mga batas, especially in the US, na nagpapangalaga ng mga financial information and even yung health information. If you can remember going back sa isa kong chapter, sa isa kong lesson. If disclosed, there would be a significant financial or legal impact to the business. Let's say on the big four na accounting firm, auditing firms, maraming mga cases in the past na nagkaroon ng mga legal implications, nagbayad sila settlement doon dahil natalo sila sa kaso because of some disclosure of confidential or restricted information. Okay? Na hindi naman dapat. Kaya normally, pag kayo graduate na kayo, pumasok kayo sa auditing firm, may mga non-disclosure agreements yan na kailangan ninyong pirmahan para nakasaad doon. Ano yung mga hindi dapat na sabihin. Kahit na nagkikwentuhan lang kayo sa mga office mates ninyo, uy, alam nyo ba, dito sa client namin, ganito, ganyan. Bawal po yan, May mga e-learnings na nagtatackle ng mga ganitong klaseng bagay. Okay? Next, contingency and disaster recovery planning. Of course, going back, saan nga ba yun? Let me just check. Ito, business continuity management, what happens kung meron tayong disaster, Ano yung contingency plan natin, How can we recover in that event? So, it is a survival tool. Kaya dito, makikita ninyo dito, this DRP or disaster recovery planning is a survival tool. Because in the event na merong catastrophe, how can we survive? How can the business survive? Paano makaka-recover? Kasi kagaya sa example ko kanina, kung nagkaroon ng earthquake, nag-collapse yung building, paano natin ma-recover yung mga information? Of course, dapat meron tayong disaster recovery plan. Now, the first step in disaster recovery planning is identifying who is responsible for distributed disaster recovery. O sino ba dapat ang responsable dyan? Now, the answer is, it depends on who has control over the hardware, the software, and the data. But in most cases, yung IT and the users must work together para ma-identify ano-ano yung mga critical information na kailangan nating i-back up. Ano-ano yung mga resources na kinakailangan natin na i-recover kung sakaling nagkaroon ng disaster. Okay, so it should address hindi lamang yung total destruction kahit mga partial. Nasunog yung part, let's say, yung accounting department yung nasunog, pero yung iba na save. So that is a partial destruction. But of course, meron tayong mga na walang mga resources. So how can we recover from that? So yun yung pinag-uusapan natin on contingency and disaster recovery planning. Planning kasi pinag-uusapan yan. How do we deal with these events, Mga fortuitous events lalong-lalo na. Written and mission statement for disaster recovery plan. Kapag nagawa na yung plano, dapat lahat ng members sa organization familiar dito. Hindi lamang kung sino yung gumawa nito. Lahat dapat. Kasi kung merong emergency, kapag nangyari mas madali na lang for the staff members na ma-execute ano yung contribution nila, ano yung role nila doon sa plan. Kasi hindi lang naman yan for limited personnel. Lahat dapat may role dyan. Exercising the plan confirms that efforts are not duplicated and all the necessary steps are taken place. Mahalaga po kasi na merong written disaster recovery plan, documented, na merong step by step na mababasa, maiintindihan at ma-execute kung sakaling nangyari yon. Okay? Hindi na natin kailangan na alamin kung kailan siya mangyayari. Dapat meron tayong plan, documented, nakikita. At syempre, dapat meron tayong mga drills. 'Di ba pag may mga fireman, 'di ba? May mga fire drills, 'di ba? May mga, let's say, I remember dati, ang office namin nasa 29th floor. Buti na lang lagi akong nasa client. Kasi pag may fire drill, 'di ba? May mga reenactment kayo diyan. Hindi pwedeng gumamit ng elevator. Dadaan kayo sa hagdan. Imagine, nasa 29th floor dati yung office namin. So, at least, nakakaligtas ako doon. But then, for disaster recovery planning, meron dapat yung actualize. Tama ba yung aking terminology, nasusubukan natin ito, natitest natin ito. So, dapat meron tayong drills para matest natin yung staffing, yung management, and decision making of both the technical and procedural aspects of an organization's disaster recovery plan. Begin testing by using desk checks, inspections, and walkthrough. And then, a disaster can be simulated at a convenient time. During the time na medyo slow yung period, wala masyadong ginagawa, okay, para at least hindi maapektuhan yung operations. Personnel also might be given prior notice of the test so that they are prepared. And, 3, parang nahiwalay ito, dapat nandito yan. Finally, simulate a disaster without warning. Okay? So, ito po yung pangatlo. Now, I hope na naintindihan ninyo sa pamamagitan nitong ating explanation kung ano ang nilalaman nitong ating part 2 on security and service community. Okay? Now, if you have any questions, please let me know and I'll be happy to assist you on this matter. Until then, I'll see you on part 3 of lesson 4. Bye-bye.